Hello everyone, welcome to Malware Analysis course. Today we're gonna speak about malwares. What is a malware? How to figure out some terms about malware. What is the techniques that we're gonna use during to analysis malware? How to figure out is this a malware or not? So let's start. First, we need to know what is a malware. It is a common term, but you're gonna ask me a question. Okay, how can I difference this is a file is a malware or not? Or even what's a malware in general? I'm gonna tell you if you already have a program and for example, if you already work in a company and this company you work in IT department. So what is usually happen in IT department? They just try to control pieces in the other machine of company, right? So maybe if you are employed in company and you are work in IT department, you will see other PCs, right? But other PCs didn't see you. So what's going on at this time? You need what's going on? So at this time you control the machine of another person, but another person don't know that, right? So that is the same term, or even that is the same situation. So imagine that you already working in your laptop and suddenly you see your mouse already moved. So oops, what's going on? So maybe you will try to figure out, hey, maybe it's lag, maybe something is wrong. It's okay, but what but let me clarify another thing. What if you see your mouse move a huge movement in your machine around your desktop? That's strange. So what if you see there is new file already appeared, or even other file had been deleted? That's strange. So let's summary what's going on. Malware is just like any software, but it's malicious. Why? Because it's to do something which is not usual happen in your PC, or even you don't have a permission to do that. But it's just like trick you and able to get your machine, so he can control it well. So at this point, we call it malicious software. So we conclude that malware is like any program, but it's malicious program because he don't have a permission to do things like that, or even you don't know anything about what's going on, right? So this is for malware. Okay, so let's go on. Why malware exists? Okay, that's great. You're gonna ask me this question. Okay, if I have a malicious file and or even I have a malware and okay, I'm an attacker and I have my own malware. So what the benefit of that? Okay, I control the other PC. So what the gain of that? I'm gonna tell you that you will gather information. Suppose that you are an attacker, right? And for example, you need to know more information about some company, right? So, or even you target company only, and you need to know information about this company. You need to know, for example, if you are a attacker and you try to maybe you try to know information about Microsoft company, whatever the company, you need to know what's the new product in this company, how maybe like system work in the company. You need to know new project in company and so on. So at this point you just run a malware. So the purpose of this malware will only need to gather information about the company, right? So for example, if you are from Russia or even America or whatever, and you just target the like enemy country of your country, right? So you just like spying on them. So what's the meaning of spying? You just like gathering information about this country, maybe from important department in all over the country, and so on. So the first thing of exist of malware is just like gathering information. Okay, what else? Else is just like, okay, once you able to control the PC of someone, you can able to get money. So how? I'm gonna tell you. If I have right to get anything of this PC, so I can get credit card. All right, so I can buy anything from internet, right? Just like use this card and they can able to buy anything, right? If someone already his card already saves in the machine, right? So second thing is just like get money. Okay, what else? As I told you, just like you can able to get any sensitive information from the country. Some country can spy to another country. So usually things like that happen, right? For example, we know that Russia and America are not okay. So both of them try to spy at each other. or just like an example, right? But if the country is enemy of another country, they will try to spy on each other. They will know that some equipment or even what's going on and so on. So that's a benefit of malware. So both of them will try to spy each other. Both of them will try to gather as much as information from the country. By some attacker try to get some money. For example, I'm attacker, so I'm target some organization, right? So I just created malware. Okay, so for example, the purpose of this malware is just like encrypt the file in your machine, and once encryption happen or and finish, so I'm gonna ask you for, hey, give me some payment so I can able to restore your file again. So at this point you can get money, and maybe as I told you, you can get money for credit card and so on. So it depends on the purpose of each malware, or even why created this malware. Okay, let's start. There is a type of malware. Okay, this is a common type that you're gonna see all over if you try to analyze malware. Some of the first thing is ransomware, spyware, backdoor, keylogger, rootkit, bootkit, adware. Some of malware will be just only used for downloader, and the other will be dropper. So for example, let me clarify to each one of them. So, for example, if you what the malware is ransomware. So, what's the purpose of the ransomware? Ransomware is used to encrypt the whole file in your machine. As I told you, if I want to earn money, so I decided that hey, I have an idea. So what I will do, I will try to create some software, okay, or even software. The purpose of this will is just like encrypt all file of victim machine. And once encryption happen, I'm gonna ask you for a payment. Hey, please give me some money so I can able to restore you can able to restore your file again. So at this point we call it as a ransomware. I just like encrypt all your files so you cannot able to see, you cannot able to restore your file without my key, right? So okay, so this is for ransomware. So what is a spyware? A spyware is just like I'm just spying on PCs, right? As I told you, if you are maybe from Russian government or even America, each of other try to spy on each other. Okay, so maybe if you are from company and you want to spy on your on another company, so at this time you just create malware. So the purpose of this malware is just like monitor what's going on in this company, and maybe you can monitor only PC if you're married, or even you want to monitor your children behavior, right? So you can create some malware, you can able to figure out what's going on in the PC of your children, right? So at this time you created ransomware so we can control the machine. Or it's not like, can give you a simple example of that. If you are working in company, so the department of IT always using this way, just like monitor what you are trying to do right now, right? So you see in each company, pieces already connected with each other. So what's going on in IT department is try to monitor the behavior of employer in this region, right? So he will know the behavior of employer. He will try, maybe this employer didn't work, maybe just like play right now. So it's something like spyware. So what's the backdoor? Backdoor is just like I'm trying to open session between me and you only, so I can write any command from my PC into your PC. Okay, again, I wanna just like make session between me and you, right? Me and you only, so I can write any command from my machine to your machine. For example, I created a backdoor. So the purpose of this backdoor is just like control your machine, okay, and I am able to execute any command from my CMD, right? So I can able to get screenshot of your PC, I can able to run any command, can able to delete file, can able to add new file and so on. So this is a backdoor. Great. So let's go on. What about keylogger? Keylogger is just like I want to monitor what's going on when you are trying to typing. For example, I just log into in my, for example, Facebook, right? So what you're gonna ask me for Facebook, just like username and password. Okay, so once I type them, it will, if my PC already got to keylogger, Okay, so what's going on? Once I type this username and password, it will automatically go to attacker server, right? So I can able what know what's going on, or even what you have been written. So for example, for another example, if I want to log into my Gmail, okay, so I just put my username and password is Gmail. So the attacker will get the username and password, right? Because he just monitor what's going on. If you write I in your keyboard, he will send is the malware will send it to attacker server. He will say, hey, so this person that got infected with keylogger, write I, or even you whatever. So and so on. This is keylogger. Rootkit and pootkit is just like modify the system file which is related to kernel. As we know, the kernel is an important part of the Windows, right? So if you try to edit on these things, like for example, I wanna just change the code of any rootkit or even put. I mean, if you try to change some code of the kernel, so at this point we call it as a rootkit and pootkit, and it's really hard to I mean for if I want to remove this type, or even if I want to remove this malware, it will be hard. I mean rootkit and pootkit, because it's just like modifying kernel, and we know kernel is an important part and sensitive part of Windows. So you need to be careful when you are trying to edit on it, right? Because every mistake, so maybe your Windows gonna be crashed. So it's okay. Adware is just like, okay, it's just like I have a malware, so the purpose of this malware is just like disable ads. So okay, what's the benefit of that? I'm gonna tell you. If I disable as much as possible from ads, so I'll earn money, right? Just like on YouTube. So I'm just disable ads in your in video, so the attacker will earn money, and so on. Maybe you just like install in free any free software or program. So the only purpose of this program is just like display ads. So at this point we call it adware. Dropper and downloader and dropper, the purpose of them is just like dropped another file or even download another file for malware. It's like helping of malware, right? So okay, how to analyze malware? Okay, now what I know what is a malware and some type of malware. So you're gonna ask me question, how can I analyze this malware? Is it easy? I'm gonna tell you it depends on a malware. Again, it depends on a malware itself. Some of malware will be easy to analysis, other of them will not be easy to analysis. Some of them just like maybe take 5 minutes to analysis, other time will be other malware maybe you can take 1 week for analysis. Okay, so each malware has its own challenge. So we can do that for only basic static analysis, basic dynamic analysis, advanced static analysis, and advanced dynamic analysis. So for basic static analysis, just to get basic information of malware. If the malware is really isn't complex, so you can able to understand what's going on from this malware. So at this point, we only use basic static analysis. Other time, maybe you can use a basic dynamic analysis just to monitor the behavior of malware. For example, I have a malware and I just run it in machine, maybe to figure out the behavior of malware. So okay, sometimes basic static analysis or even basic dynamic analysis does not work clearly. So you need to you need to go in depth of code, or even go in depth of malware to understand the functionality of it, right? So at this point, we can use advanced static analysis or even advanced dynamic analysis. And if you mix between advanced static analysis and advanced dynamic analysis, this will be good for you. I mean, you'll get good results. So finally, it depends in malware itself. Some malware is complex, other malware is not complex. It depends at the end is of malware. So as I told you, for basic static analysis, you just like get basic information of malware. Maybe this information is useful, other time is not useful, but I want to tell you something. If the malware at the first stage, or even for example what's going on, or even what's usually happen, usually attacker try to send malicious email to someone in company. This email will be likely document, for example, hey, check your invoice right now, hey, someone gives you money, please download this file. And what's going on if the employer downloads the file? If he downloads the file and executed it, the malware will infect the machine. Okay, so at the first stage, we're gonna do basic static analysis. So at first stage, in most cases, basic static analysis would be sufficient to understand what's going on at the first stage of malware. Hey, we don't reach it to the final stage. So sometimes, I mean, some cases, basic analysis will work good. So that's for basic static analysis. Basic dynamic analysis is just like monitors the behavior of malware during runtime. For example, I just double click on malware and see, hey, this malware dropped another file, and this file will communicate with this IP address, which is malicious IP address of attacker, and it sends some data to this attacker. But okay, that's good, but you need to know what's going on in the file. I mean, maybe this behavior only for one case of malware. So it's okay for basic static analysis and the basic dynamic analysis. You figure out what's going on in the malware, but you need to do more analysis on it to get the full picture. So at this time, we're gonna do advanced static analysis, just like go in depth of malware, or go in depth in the code of malware and figure out what's going on in the malware itself. So just only like not only do basic static analysis or even basic dynamic analysis, just to go through the code only. So in basic static analysis, we didn't see the code. We just check some information of the malware, which a tool can able to, I mean, can able to get them. But for advanced static analysis, just to see the code of malware, so you know what's going on at each part. Okay, so for advanced dynamic analysis, just to get the full picture of malware during runtime. Okay, I didn't understand. I'm gonna tell you. If you already write the code before, okay, so if you try to run your code, and for example, the code is like 5 plus 5 is equal to 10, right? So if I run the malware, right, even if I run the code, so it will appear to you in CMD, hey, enter the first number, maybe you will enter 5, enter second number, you will enter 5, so it just will display to you result. So at this point, what's going we can refer to that result is just like basic dynamic analysis. So we conclude from your program is just like give you first number, second number, I just like display the behavior, the result, right? But you don't see any code, right? So this is the for basic dynamic analysis. But for advanced dynamic analysis, we just check each line of code. So you need to know, you will figure out, hey, at this point, he will ask me for the first number. And if you go more in code, hey, you will see, hey, something like, hey, at this point, you've asked me for second number. And for a result, just like display the result. So at this point, you figure out the code, just like making like advanced dynamic analysis, right? Okay, so I just wanna tell you something important news for you. Each malware analyst has his own mind, or even has his own mechanism for analyzing malware. So some of them will depends only on some tools, other them will depends only something like mix between advanced dynamic analysis and advanced static analysis. It depends on each malware. I mean, some malware analysts will choose some simplest technique, other will choose hard technique or even complex technique, but I'm gonna show you how to do that. And this is not only the first course that you're gonna meet. I just like start from you from the beginning, so I just need you to know what's going on at each type. Or that's not only, I will give you practical at each lab. So whenever we know something theoretical, we're gonna apply it in practical lab. The purpose of that is just like monitor what's going on, and even just like enhance your skills. So don't forget please to install your VM, and don't forget to install your suitable operating system, because you will treat malware, so maybe you infect yourself with this malware. So I don't want things like that happen to your PC, so please do not any malware in your original machine, because malware will go to your PC and achieve more damage in your PC. But it's okay. So I hope you enjoy this video. So see you next video. Have a nice day. Bye bye.